Hey guys, so I have a new eyeshadow palette to share with you today. I have been trying very hard not to buy makeup, and you saw that I bought that MAC lip kit when I went away for my anniversary, and alright, here's what happened. I went to Walmart the other day and I just went over and looked at the makeup section and I found something over there that I've been curious about ever since it came out. I bought that. Then yesterday I went to Ulta because if you get these flyers in the mail, they come once every 3 weeks usually. Ever since I got this, when you open it up to I guess this would be page 3, you see this. See this palette? I haven't been able to stop thinking about it ever since I got this flyer. I kept looking at it and looking at it saying, oh my god, that is beautiful. It's the Revolution Beauty Forever Flawless Birds of Paradise eyeshadow palette. Now, in the United States, the only place where you can buy Revolution is at Ulta, so that's the only place you're going to find it unless you order it online. But here it is. Gorgeous packaging, right? This was $15. Inside, I'm going to hold it upside down so that you don't get a reflection from the mirror. Inside, you get 18 shades. 18 shades for $15. This is one of the reasons why I love Revolution, because it's such a good deal, and the quality on this palette is there too. Very good quality. If you're not familiar with Revolution, they have multiple brands within the brand. The brand, like the umbrella brand, is Revolution Beauty, okay? And then within that is Makeup Revolution, I Heart Revolution, Revolution Pro, Makeup Obsession. Makeup Obsession is at Target. Revolution Beauty, Makeup Revolution, Revolution Pro, and I Heart Revolution are all at Ulta, at least in the United States. And then if you go on their website, like their main website for all the brands, you'll see even more stuff. And a lot of it launches in the UK because that's where they're based. So some of those products never get here. Sometimes they do. If they sell well over there, then they bring them here. So that's how it usually works. So this palette came out probably a month or two ago originally over in the UK, and we're just now getting it. But it is stunning, and the packaging is beautiful. And it's funny because the reason why I wanted this so bad is because when it comes to purples in my collection, I have certain shades of purple eyeshadows, of course, but when it comes to matte purples, there are certain shades that I did not have. This one right here is the main reason why I bought this palette, because I did not have a matte purple in my collection that looks like that. And to me, it's gorgeous, and I really wanted it. But I didn't buy it just for that one shadow, because actually I think the whole palette is just stunning. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, why don't I see that purple on you? Because when I did the swatches of this, the shade that blew me away when I did the swatches was this gold right here. And I'm not even a gold person, but that is the shade that I have on my lids. And then I took these two greens and I used those. The lighter of the two greens is like on the inner part of my eye look right here, and then I use the darker green on the outer part and drag that along my lower lash line. And then I use the white as a brow bone and inner corner highlight. So those are the 4 shades. 1, 2, 3, 4 that I used in my look today. I was thinking about adding another color, but I think 4 shades is good. I didn't want to add something else in and then not like it as much as I do because I love the way this came out. I am obsessed with green lately. I don't know what it is, but every shade of green possible, I'm just really loving it. So, but the gold, I am, like I said, I am not a gold person, but I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Can you see there's like almost like an impression or a big mark in the middle of that? That's because of the texture. It's almost like a foiled metallic effect without having to foil it. So it's a very soft metallic shadow, that gold one. There's lots of different textures in this palette. There are 2 pressed glitters. These 2 right here, the fuchsia and the bright like cobalt blue. I don't like pressed glitters because no matter what you use, even if you use like a glitter glue or whatever, they have a tendency to just go all over the place. I just don't care for them, so I probably will never use those 2. And then, like I said, the gold is like a metallic. And then there's this beautiful like rose gold color that has just, it's like a normal shimmer. It's not a glitter, it's a shimmer, a finely milled shimmer that performs just like a typical shimmer shadow would. And then there's this orange right here. I know you can't tell by looking at it, but this is a very subtle shimmery shade. It doesn't go on your eye as strong as that color, but I'm kind of glad about that because orange is not a color. Orange is a very hard color for me to wear. Like I can wear peach and I can wear coral, but straight up orange is one of my worst colors as far as how it looks on me. Like for example, today I have on like a peach lip gloss and I think it looks fine, especially with the green eyeshadow. But if I had on like a straight up orange lipstick, it would look bad. Speaking of orange, so anyways, I do really like this shade here. No, this one. For its subtleties. It's really, really pretty. And then there's lots of other oranges. There's this one, which again, orange is not a great color for me. So those 2 I probably won't use much. But this one is a coral and it's really, really beautiful. It's got like the red mixed into the orange. Really pretty. And I already talked about the purples. And then you have this yellow over here, which is coming off on camera more yellow than it is in real life. In real life, it has a definite gold tone to it. And so it's sort of a cross between yellow and gold. And this gold that I'm going on and on about has sort of a hint of green to it, which is why I paired it with the greens and didn't disappoint. And then we have some blues, the pressed glitter that I already talked about, and then we have those 2 blues there. This one is sort of an aqua type blue, and then that's more of a turquoise blue. And I think that's it. So I've talked about each color. So something else that I want to tell you about with this palette before I do some swatches for you is that there are pressed pigments in this. And on the back of the palette, it has a picture of an eye with a slash through it. In other words, they're not eye safe, which I don't know why companies are doing this because it just doesn't make any sense. This is an eyeshadow palette, you know? Does it even say that? No, nowhere on here does it say eyeshadow palette. Oh yeah, it does. Okay. It just says shadow palette. But yeah, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 out of the 18 are pressed pigments, and in theory not eye safe. It just so happens that all 4 shades that I use today are eye safe. And I didn't plan it that way at all. I just looked at the palette, figured out what I wanted to do, and didn't even see really about the eye safety pressed pigment issue until I had already done my look. So let me show you which ones are pressed pigments. Okay, so this hot pink on the top is a pressed pigment. And that subtle orange shimmer that I told you about, that's a pressed pigment. Kind of surprised about that because it went on pretty subtle. The 2 pressed glitters are pressed pigments. And then this purple, which is the reason why I bought the palette, that is a pressed pigment. And then this orange and this purple, which is kind of a bluish purple, those 2 are pressed pigments as well. And then on the bottom row, this purple is a pressed pigment. This orange is a pressed pigment, which is that coral that I was talking about. This orange is a pressed pigment. And that's it. Okay, so now I've shown you which ones are pressed pigments, so all the ones that I didn't mention are not pressed pigments. So let me do some swatches for you. Okay, and these swatches are going to be on bare skin with no primer or anything like that. So these are the first 4 shadows in the palette. This is, the blue is Macaw, the pink is Vacay, the next blue is Take Flight, and then the orange is Exotic. And this is the one that I said was a shimmer that wasn't very pigmented, but I bet you if you build that up, it would be gorgeous. You can see that pink is really, really pigmented. So I'm doing them 4 at a time because I just want to use those 4 fingers at a time. Okay, so before I swatch the next 4, those 2 pressed pigments are included in this, and I want you to see what these shades look like on my fingers before I swatch them, because what's going to happen is the glitter is just going to scatter and get streaky, because that's just how pressed pigments are. Okay, so that's one swipe, and actually they swatched better than I thought they would, but yeah, I don't know, I have a thing about glitter. I'm petrified of getting a chunk in my eye and then having it scratch my eye or something. I mean, people have gone blind from things like that happening, so I don't know, it's just not worth it to me. So that's Lovebirds is the fuchsia glitter, Rio is the blue glitter, Canary is the yellow, and Adventure is the purple. Adventure is the one that I bought the palette for, and it looks like that's going to take some building up. That one didn't go on as pigmented as I expected it to. Alright, so here are the next 4. The one on top is called Hot Tropic, and that's the one that's like a shimmery rose gold. I think that one's going to be a really pretty lid shade. The next one down is Budgie, and that's one of the ones that I'm wearing today. That's the green. And then Toucan Play is the orange, and interestingly enough, they misspelled toucan. They left out the U. And then Island is the purple, and you can see that that swatched unevenly. So kind of disappointed about that, but we'll see. Maybe, you know, over some eyeshadow primer, it will be okay. So that completes the second row. So we have one more row left to go. Okay, and the first 4 shadows in the bottom row, I wanted to show you something before I swatch them on my arm. This is the gold that I have on my lids, and when you touch it, it feels wet. It's definitely, it's wet. That's the only way I can describe it, but it's like a wet metallic. So I could have built that up probably even more than I did today. As a matter of fact, since I've got this, no, let's continue with the swatches. I was gonna add some to see if I could show you the intensity, but I could do that after I finish with the swatches. Okay, so let's do that. All right, so the top one is the pinky purple called Tail Feather. That's not very pigmented at all. Tweet is the orange, second one down. That's pretty pigmented. Fiesta is that gold that I keep talking about. The swatch is not doing it justice. It's gorgeous in real life. And Cardinal swatched really intensely. Cardinal is the orange on the bottom. So we have 2 left to swatch. All right, so the last 2 in the palette are Jungle, which is the green that I have in my outer corners and underneath my eyes, and then Cockatoo, which is what I have as my brow bone highlight and inner corner highlight. I just want to show you what they look like before I swatch them. Look at how intense that white is. Because once I put it on my skin, it's not as impressive. The white, I mean, because, you know, my skin is so pale that it doesn't really, the swatch doesn't show what an impressive white it actually is. Okay, so let's take a little bit of that Fiesta and put it on my lids with my finger to see if we can build up that intensity to really, I want to try to show you just how gorgeous of a shadow that is. But yeah, it's wet, very, very wet. Okay. All right, so that's the trick then, you guys. Don't use a brush when you use this shade, because look at that. Aha. Oh, it feels so funny. Oh, I know what it feels like. ColourPop Super Shock shadows. That's what it feels like. If you've ever bought any of those, that's what it feels like. But it seems to go on a lot better, because I did use a brush initially with that, and it went on okay. But to really build up the intensity and the shine, wow, I would love to see Revolution do a whole palette of just that particular shadow texture, because that's the only one in the palette that feels like that. So that's it, you guys. I love this palette. I can't wait to play with it some more. And I kind of wish it had more shimmery shades in it. I mean, I do like mattes, but there's so many mattes in here. So, oh yeah, I would love to see them do a whole palette of that. The rose gold one has a bit of a wetness too, but not to the extent that that gold one. Yeah, I love that gold shade. So ironic, because gold shadows is not something I'm ever normally drawn to. So that's it for today, you guys. I do have some more new things to show you next week that I bought. And even though, you know, I said I'm trying not to buy things, I don't know. What can I say? You want to see it anyway, right? So I'll have some more new things to show you next week. So have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week most likely. Bye-bye.